Legendary fighters fall. The Great War. The Skullostica Arc. Clifton and Gabba of the Allied forces go and investigate the whereabouts of Chaos and join the war of Skullostica as Queen Alexa and a recently resurrected Zim, the great demon warrior of Skullostica of old, join the war as well. Battle 1. Fight for shore. Claire, a young knight, wants to prove herself to the troops of Carmel her worth as they land on the shores of Xavier. Damag, a seasoned officer, is with her as Clifton and Galba sneak onto the battlefield as mercenaries of Carmel. See the battle between the Carmels and Xaviers. I just started up again. Chaos went there because the war was planetary, and now the main front of the war was consisted in the main country in Xavier, as the Carmels set sail to find a docking to get to the main country to take the main city. Gabba and Clifton went to investigate to bring John Johnson to the fold and to end the war, fighting Chaos, and allow the Allied forces to put an end to the chaos. And Claire was a warrior, a knight. She wanted to prove to the Carmels her strength, and so she led the front lines, doing her best. And Gabba and Clifton moved to aid her against enemy bombardment of arrows and swords and cavalry and elephants and giants and muskets and slingers and all the rest of that. The battle was won, and the Carmels were able to dock safely in the various docks of the Savior country. Battle 2. Waiting on reinforcements. Gabba and Clifton decided to split up as the war raged on. Split because their mercenaries won. Gabba went with the Carmels and Clifton stayed with Xavier. Of course, he was making money too, so why not? Pa Joseph, one of the leaders, royal knights of Xavier, defending the main camp. And Rhodes, another royal knight, was rushing to the front, just south of the docks, to defend the territory and prevent the Carmels from reaching the city of St. Francis, the capital of Xavier. Along with Clifton, to defend Albany. This was the area which they were fighting, from falling. It was the gateway to St. Francis. Our host and Debbie from the Kichuru had joined the Carmels as they fought to prevent Xavier's backup from arriving, as Clifton and another mercenary guarded. Reinforcements are necessary, or else they will be overrun by the enemy. Our host and Debbie, after the Kichuru were banned from the tournaments and Ricardo Yellow was disgraced and lost his will to fight, they decided to go across the cosmos to see what else they could do. They saw the war between the Carmel and Xavier and chose to join Carmel, and now were in their employ to help a cause and to win and to be champions in something. And so the battle raged on, and Clifton able to withstand our host and Debbie, as they were shocked that no Scholasticus were working for Xavier, as they were working for Carmel. Clifton was well aware of the history of the tournaments and recognized them and defeated them, which allowed reinforcements to come, and they overcome the Carmels, and Gabba was told to retreat along with the Carmels. So next battle 3, defending the east. Gabba and Clifton are together again as they help the Xavier High Ministers, Mary Cafe, a big strong woman who had the ability to carry a giant axe to chop up the enemy. She reminded Gabba She reminded Gabba of Elvira, as Gabba yearned for the age and the days of the Floor Primes ruling. She saw the chaos and wanted the floors to rule. Clifton confronted her about this several times, and saying that her obsession with powerful people was completely unhealthy, and that everyone that was being brought back by the way time disruption had abandoned their past ideals and ambitions for the greater good, and he was encouraging Garber to do the same. The High Ministers, Mary Caffrey and Jody Jun, defended Lyell from Aswit of Kamel. Aswit was the son of the Swit crime lord during different timelines of the universe after Cyrus appeared after the destruction mentions, defeated the Floors and forged every intelligent organism into a humanoid form. And so when Cyrus was strong enough to come back, he could rule the universe. But the Allied forces had by a Hawk, Grandfather, and hosts of others as they confronted Tobago and others, pirates, the Meds clan, and a bunch of other people to defeat him. And Cyrus was defeated. And so son of Kamel was also aligned with Cyrus. But that Kamel ruled the entire planet. And Xavier didn't exist because they didn't want it. So they decided, hey, we could join the Cyrus guy when he appears and give some mortality. All we gotta do is just maintain this plan. We can prevent people from going up to space and realizing that there's a universe, and put two and two together and realize the history. And that was their mission, but they failed miserably. And so I came after Grandfather made it up to space. That Allied forces defeated Cyrus. Now, Cyrus descendants and from allies and descendants of Cyrus' allies wanted to take the planet back and find a way to revive Cyrus, because these were the same people Cyrus was looking for in the dimensions. He didn't know they were on the planet of Skullostica. And so they wanted to bring back their Lord at full strength to rule the universe. And so after realizing that Cyrus' henchmen were part of the Camels, they decided not to follow the Camels but to join the Savior. But since we're mercenaries, they, go back and forth with the kingdoms, and whoever hires them with the most money, they just go and join. So they decided to join the Camels one more time and then call it quits. But however, this fourth battle will be consisted of John Johnson as he arrived, as they was looking for him. But before they could, they joined Cromwell for one last time. Because they were mercenaries, as I said. Still, they didn't expect John Johnson and Jellyfan to finally clash here. John and Barnabas arrived late in the empty castle in the west, as the Cromwell wanted to have a foothold to St. Francis. Jellyfan of Cromwell, another Cyrus ally, came in response to John Johnson. As John Johnson appeared, he was beating up Damek and Claire, who were there in the battlefield, and the knights and troops were falling back and retreating as John Johnson was on the rampage. But Damek was like, told the mercenaries, Gabba and Clifton and others, go straight for the castle and sing Barnabas. Don't worry, you'll handle John Johnson. They were shocked and said, what? John Johnson is a powerful warrior, a true knight. And God was impressed. He said, this is the man who defeated Golden Goddess, Diana on the floor. I see why. And Clifton had to correct Gabba again. And then Jellyfan appeared. And Jellyfan calling him John Johnson, John Boy, saying, come John Boy, the most powerful of the JS insurer. Face me. And John Johnson, who had abandoned his JS insurance and was loyal only to Cromwell, face off against Jellyfan. His powerful giant fan was blown John Johnson's troops away as John Johnson fought, and he was clashing. And so After that, the castle was eventually taken as the mercenaries Gaba and Clifton, the facing bombers, they took the castle and secured the west, allowing the Carmel to have a foothold on Xavier's main country at long last. About 5. During the king. Prince Brian of White, the son of King Carmel, the second son of the first, who was another Cyrus ally, along with Hahus and Debbie, were just a few miles away from St. Francis. Gaba and Clifton were absent from this spell, so everyone could forget about their involvement with Carmel, as they wanted to join Xavier. The Carmel plan was for the king of Xavier to lure the king of Xavier to them, and thus emptying the city of St. Francis. So the secondary unit, which was led by Elsweet, could advance and take the castle. And so Brian's right-hand man, Mert, joined him because he was his right-hand bodyguard, and this was Mert's idea as well. So they joined the battle, and the two officers, the high ministers, not the high ministers, the high ministers, Mary Caffey and Joe de June, joined the king of Xavier when he was lured out, and the other two guards, Pan Joseph and Rogues, appeared on the other side to take the camp of Carmel, while the Prince Brian and Mert were charging the front lines and slaying everybody and fighting hard and all that stuff. And Debbie ambushed the two knights that appeared and defeated them. And of course, they had to turn back around and go a long way to come back. And the king of Xavier had arrived, and Prince Brian and Mert and Hahos and Debbie and their forces worked together to defeat him. But Xavier was defeated, and then the castle was now available and empty. As John Johnson, this is about 6, confronting John Johnson, Gaba and Clifton ambushed JJ in order to plead their case to him. So Gaba and Clifton decided to attack Barnabas and John Johnson as they were heading back to St. Francis to defend it. They wanted to convince John Johnson to join allied forces, as he told them about the Prince of Darkness and his plan, and tell them John Johnson was a strong warrior and they needed everyone they could possibly get. John Johnson was refusing because he wanted to stay in Xavier. The last time he went out of the universe, Skullostica fell, and then Skullostica fell. It fell to Atlanteans, and they had to come and beat the Atlanteans. Then he had to defeat the Golden Goddess, and then he had to defeat the resurrected King Atlantean, who had conquered hell and saw about Armageddon just to have a vengeance on him. He sacrificed his life to defeat him, to save the universe, and what had happened, more chaos and confusion and fights in this very day. So he said he's not going to go anywhere, because it didn't make no sense. But Gaba and Clifton worked together to defeat him and Barnabas, and they had him tied him at the end, and they say John Johnson said if only then the Duke Orange, the original powerful warrior that turned the tide of the war and caused St. Francis to win the first time, was around and alive to join him, and maybe all of that could be happening. And then he's telling them, take my head. And Clifton is assuring him, no, we don't want that. We want your cooperation. We want to join forces. And then after that, a messenger appeared who didn't know what was going on. He saw they were mercenaries and Barnabas and John Johnson, and it's like, St. Francis has fallen. And then it's like, curse you mercenaries. You're working for a man all along. And then Clifton's like, no. And he look at Gaba and say, was this your plan? You seen that Cyrus beat the flaws, and so you want to join the power and want to serve Cyrus instead? She's saying, no, I don't have nothing to do with this. I know what's going on. And then John Johnson lowered his head and said, all is lost. And so Baal-Zeb and Carmel take St. Francis. Elsewit and Damak attack St. Francis. as John Johnson and the King of Xavier were away, and they took it easily. So only a couple nights, and mostly mercenaries guarded the city. It's dangerously undermanned, and they worked to get around the city streets and took the city. And they was like, victory is ours. We won the war. King Francis' capital is ruined. The king and all his forces are beaten, and then they won. So they had won. So they fought. But however, about eight will prove otherwise. Queen Alexa, now seeing that the war was finally over, she declared it was time for her to take back our world. So she sent Duke Saul Guardian and TBR to take St. Francis right after Elswit and the Carmel declared victory. And with that, they quickly took the castle, overwhelming them as TBR displayed his might. And the exhausted Carmels was like, who are these troops? They seem familiar. And they were fighting like they had more heavy weaponry, and the fighting style was slightly different than theirs. They were more powerful, and they overwhelmed and quickly took the city within 30 minutes or so. And the Carmels were defeated. And so that is part one of the battle of the Skullostica Arc. And so Queen Alexa finally makes an appearance, and now the two-way war is now a three-way.